and it hasn't jammed on me at all. No stovepipes, failures to feed, or anything. So it is really chomping down the ammo. It's swallowing anything that I've given it so far. Very, very reliable. Again, only 150 rounds, but I have had other pistols that have jammed in the first 50 rounds that I fired. Not to mention that they say that the first 100 to 200 rounds is the break-in period, so if it's not jamming as of yet, I really feel confident that this is going to be a reliable firearm. And when it comes down to it, the looks of the gun, even the weight of the gun, isn't going to be an extreme issue. It's going to be reliability, because you need it to fire when you need it to fire, and that's the bottom line. And it does fire when you need it to fire, and it is pretty reasonably accurate. And the gun shop where I got it at, they told me that they've sold over 600 of them so far since they've got them in, and they've only had 3 of them come back that they had to send back to the factory. So, and he said that's actually a very good track record so far for a gun, particularly a $200 gun. I think when you hear of a $200 gun, you think that it's going to be poorly made. And I'll be honest with you, it is not poorly made. Yeah, they use cheaper parts that make it heavier and uglier, but it's still reliable, and it's still going to stand to the test of time, I believe. And also, the outstanding warranty that it comes with is just 100% excellent. So I will move on to what the gun comes with, and yes, an awesome warranty. Their website says damage, age, and plain old wear and tear, these things happen. When they do, Hi-Point customers enjoy a lifetime, no questions asked warranty. And lifetime means just that, free repairs for the life of the gun, whether you are the first owner or the third. That service is fast, friendly, and expertly performed. Your Hi-Point will come back in action, good as new, in no time. And the gun shop owner, who I talked to, well, not the owner, but the sales representative, he spoke of that warranty, of how awesome it is. He said those 3 guns that they did have to send back, they did so and got the gun back in about a week. A week turnaround time is excellent. Particularly, again, for a $200 gun. I know I keep saying that, but the tremendous value that you are getting for that $200 price is absolutely exceptional, and I think it's very noteworthy. Okay, I'm gonna have to swap batteries real quick. Bear with me. Okay, sorry about that. I got the batteries swapped out now. Back to what it comes with. Yes, an awesome warranty. It really truly is. It only comes with 1 mag. Most handguns you buy come with 2. This only comes with 1, but again, $200 gun. No big deal. These, whoops, as I'm getting it all snow covered now, that's okay. Wouldn't be the first time I dropped it in, it still fires. Magazines, you can get them for maybe around $15. I think I've seen as cheap as like $13.88 from a website. Of course, it's a website I've never ordered from before, and I don't remember what it is, but just do a Google search on the magazine. You'll find a slew of websites come up for it. But the interesting thing is, the manual for the gun says if you send $18 to their address, it is listed in the manual and on their website, they'll actually send you a magazine, and it's $18 per magazine. That covers shipping and handling. So that's actually not too bad. You could go ahead, send a money order, $36, get 2 extra magazines, and that's with shipping and everything. And that's probably what I'm going to do, because right now I only have the 1 magazine. Typically for a handgun, you want about 3, 1 in the gun and 2 extra with you. Obviously, depending on what you're doing, that may vary. It does come with an optional PEEP ghost ring sight. You can go ahead and change the back of this sight to like a little ring. It's called a ghost ring or a PEEP sight. And depending on what your preferences are, excuse me, you may want to do that. I don't know. It's cool that they send it. I haven't put it on yet. I'll probably end up trying it sooner or later. It's just a cool little feature they give you. And it comes with a trigger lock, which nobody cares about anyways. And by law, I believe they have to do that here in the United States. Now I'm going to talk about the gun specifically and the features of it. It is a very heavy gun. I've pointed that out, and you've probably already seen that in different reviews. It is heavy. It's top heavy. So you're not going to be likely to conceal carry this. But in a good holster that fits on the external of your body, whether it's hip or a chest holster, it's really not too bad. And I know chest holsters, actually I mean to say shoulder holsters, you could conceal with a coat on. A t-shirt, very unlikely. Depends on how baggy it is. I don't really think you'd want to walk around all day with your daily routines carrying this, but nevertheless it is an option. Of course, if your daily job is to go outside, maybe you're a park ranger or something, that's a little bit different because you can just carry that on your hip and it would be comfortable that way, I believe. Ergonomics wise, it actually fits pretty decent in your hand, or at least my hand I should say. I have a medium to large size hand. Certainly there's larger hands out there, but it does fit fairly well in my hand. You do notice that the base plate of the magazine extends past the bottom of the gun. To me, I think that they really should have shortened that up a bit to make it a little bit shorter, because my fingers don't even go on there and most people's would not actually need that room. But again, keeping costs down, they most likely probably had to do that. Now the grip is a polymer, pretty cheap plastic grip. It does feel good, but I think it's fairly slippery. There are no grooves on the handle of the gun to help your hand hold in place. So far it hasn't been a problem for me, although I did shoot with the gloves on. I feel that if your hands were sweaty or you got the gun wet, it may slip on you a little bit, which is going to be a problem. I actually ordered a grip for it that I seen someone else put on their Hi-Point 45, and that looks pretty cool on it. I think it's called a hoe grip. Maybe I'll go ahead and annotate that what it is. I haven't, like I said, I ordered it. I don't actually have it yet, so I don't know how that's going to actually feel, but it is going to be a rubber grip that will definitely provide a little more friction to your hand to be able to hold on to it. And it has a safety, it has a slide, push button slides safety. I guess it's not a push button, it's a rotating safety, as you can see. Fairly cheaply made, I think. Doesn't feel the greatest, however you can easily access it whenever it's in the safe position. If you're ready to fire and the safety's on, you should be able to just swing your thumb down like so and disengage it without having to change your grip out of the firing position. So that's pretty cool. And their manual says it's also a sear block safety. I guess whenever that's engaged, it keeps the firing pin blocked so it won't accidentally fire, which is actually very important. If you bump the gun hard or drop it, it won't go off. And actually, whenever you rattle the gun around, you can hear that. You can hear that rattling in there. I guess that has to do with another drop safety prevention mechanism. It somehow blocks the pin if it were to drop. I don't know the specifics of how it works, but the manual says that's what it does. Although that sear block, I guess, is about, in the drop safety, is the only safety mechanisms it has. Some people have criticized that a little bit, wanting a second or a third safe device. Honestly, I don't think that's necessary, and I've never really heard of a gun ever accidentally firing because of one of those mechanisms failing. Yeah, if it didn't have a sear block safety and someone dropped it, I guess there are a few very minor cases with that of firing. And of course, if you're stupid and you pull the trigger accidentally, it will go off, assuming you have one round in the chamber. That's obvious. There's really no safety for stupidity, so as always, you gotta be safe with the handling of your gun, and you're probably never going to have any issues whatsoever. Now, it does have a magazine drop button. Obviously, you would have to. I do like it. Not that there's anything special about it, but the cool thing is, if you're in the firing position, there's virtually no way of accidentally engaging the magazine drop, unless if you have your left thumb kind of in a funky position like that. But the way I hold the gun, you're not going to accidentally bump it with your right hand or left hand, however you shoot, because that's a problem. Because if you're getting ready to engage a target, accidentally drop the magazine in, you're done. But when you do want to access it, you just kind of rotate the gun a little bit, push a button and the magazine comes right out. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm blocking the gun a little bit. Normally, yeah, I'm kind of holding it awkward because of the camera, but normally if your hand's not in the way, it will drop right down and you can catch it like so. And it does have a last shot fired slide open. I forget what exactly that's called, but basically when you fire the last round of the gun, the slide's going to keep it open like that. That's good. Most semi-automatic pistols are like that, because that enables you to change the magazine real quick, put a new one in, and rack it, and you're good to go. One thing I don't like about it is that if you drop the magazine, the trigger will not fire. You can't pull the trigger, which is kind of bad, because if you do somehow accidentally drop the magazine in battle and you have a round loaded in the chamber, you can't pull the trigger. So that sucks. And again, maybe that's not extremely likely, but it's good to know that you could at least fire that one round in the chamber if something bad like that happened. But whatever. Another thing to point out is when you cycle a new round after you swap magazines, there is no slide release button. You know, a lot of pistols like Glocks and other well-known brand name firearms, there's a button, you just go like that, it releases a slide and it loads the new round from the new magazine, which is pretty cool. I think it's much quicker than putting your left hand up here, pulling the slide back and letting it go. But some people prefer the pulling of the slide back, so that might not be an issue to you. I don't like that as much, having to use my hand to pull the slide back. I think it just takes more time, because what I do when I do a mag swap, as I'm getting my left hand in position, I use my right thumb to engage the slide, load the new round, and I'm ready to fire. But now I'm going to have to use my left hand to pull the slide back and then put it in the firing position. So it will take a little bit longer for me, possibly for you. It's not a huge issue. It's not going to take a lot more time, but time does matter in a defensive situation. Okay, and I already mentioned how it won't fire if the magazine's absent. I don't like that, but nevertheless, that's what we're dealing with. The trigger pull, it's a relatively short trigger pull. I don't have a mechanism to measure the poundage that you must pull on the trigger to get it to fire. I would estimate that it's around 7 pounds. So it does not go off extremely easy, but I think it's pretty smooth. I don't have any issues with it. It doesn't vary in the pressure or the pull that it takes to fire it, so it doesn't go from like 1 pound to 7 pounds back to 2. There are some guns that have kind of funky trigger pulls. It is consistent, and I like it for what it's worth. I don't have a problem with it, and I would say it is about 7 pounds. Now, the sights, they're multicolored. Let's see if you can see that a little bit. The rear sight is red and the front sight is yellow. So you do get a little bit of a color differential there to help you get on target. It's pretty cool. It helps. They are, however, not glow-in-the-dark sights. It kind of makes you think that they might be. It's kind of like tritium sights that glow in the dark, but it's not. So at night you're going to have trouble aiming and shooting the gun, which is true for any sights that are not glow in the dark. And there are probably other sight options out there that you can get for them. I don't know. The rear sight, it's a little bit flimsy. You might be able to see here, it does move to the left and up and down a little bit. Over time, will that wear out and move around on you? I don't know. So far it doesn't seem to be a problem, but yeah, it is a little bit flimsy, and I don't know, it could be a problem, but so far it hasn't been. You can adjust the sights for windage and elevation. There's a screw here for elevation and a screw here on the side for windage, left and right, up and down. That's pretty cool, because if you get the sights and somehow they're not in line already, which my sights seem to be pretty decent from the factory. I didn't have to adjust them yet. Maybe in the future I will, depending on how it's shooting. It is pretty accurate so far. I haven't had a problem with it yet, so I don't think I will actually need to adjust it. But I know different people